Hey, wouldn't they try to say
This wall.
stuff
First, you'll probably be
that's
amazed at the
complicated when it's
sheer
not
size of the
complicated?
incredible structure of the wall. The massive polygonal stones at the foundation are fit together without mortar, and so precisely that not even a piece of paper can fit in between them.
It's because they're rocks, they're stacked on top of rocks. That's why. And the rocks are pretty flat, so the likelihood of them fitting on top of each other and you not being able to stick a paper through it makes sense. Nothing special about that. It's literally flat rocks on top of flat rocks.
Take a look at the size of those stones. They were carried from a quarry located several miles away
Who said they were carried?
from the site, and they had to be carried through the rugged and mountainous terrain of the Andes. Now, notice the much more crude stonework on top of the megalithic.
Crude? You mean simpler. Look at the simpler, less problematic, easier to do stonework. Not crude, not inferior.
Foundation. In this picture of the walls in Cusco, Peru, we even see three distinct building styles. A megalithic foundation, cruder and smaller stones in the middle, and then another different style on top, probably Spanish architecture. It is reasonable to assume that the upper stonework was restoration or repair work.
All of it was work. All of it was restore work. Because these locations were used by thousands and thousands of people for thousands and thousands of years. That's why they were made of stone, so they can last a long time, so future generations will have a place to stay, will have a shelter. You know, instead of being a cave or trying to maintain a mud hut or straw or wooden, structure, they made stone structures. And there's other reasons for it. Obviously, there's the anti-earthquake aspect of it, the fact that it could survive a flood, as in it could be underwater for a long, long period of time, and then once the water goes away, the structures will still be there, for future generations to use once they can use it, right? And that's if they even want to use it, which typically they tend to do as proof of all these other types of stones being stacked on top of it to build a bigger, more useful structure that people can live in because, people need shelter.
But why would the builders not continue with the style that was previously used? A style that is obviously much more sophisticated and superior to this.
It's not more sophisticated because sophistication will mean uniformity, prettiness. All this shit looks fucked up, jacked up, all out of shape, right? Now you look at this as more intricate, like, oh, it requires more skill to create a wall like this. Actually, it's incorrect. It's the opposite. Because this, the way I look at it, has always been meant to be a way to simplify the building process by just flattening around the stone and then just place it, flatten it, place it, flatten it, place it, and that's it. Makes it easier to build, faster to build something when you're not trying to make it perfect. That's why it looks imperfect. Like common sense. Like this doesn't look like people put time and effort into building it. It looks like they build it overnight, build it during the weekend, build it during the summer, so that way during the winter they have this big protective wall. They didn't have time to waste, spending decades building this. They had to build this in a short period of time. So this is the fastest way to build something, which is take stuff that's already a certain shape it up a little bit more, cut off a couple unnecessary pieces, and then stack it on top of each other. That's it. It ain't complicated. The whole idea is to take stone and flatten it enough that you can stack it. And that's it. It's just stacking stones. Nothing sophisticated, nothing advanced about this. This is simple. Kids do this. Not with big giant rocks, but they definitely do it with small little rocks. Legos and stuff. Like this is basic. This is not nothing advanced. What we do is pretty advanced. Anyway.
On top of it. Perhaps because it couldn't be reproduced. And we see the same phenomenon all.
Incorrect. It can be reproduced. It's just not necessary, right? That's the whole point. It's like it wasn't necessary. The reason why these places were built with big rocks, there was a reason for it. Now that reason is lost to us, yes. Technically lost to us. I mean, we can guess. Big rocks are harder to knock over, to shake loose, right? So it would give the impression, oh yeah, earthquake proof. You're making earthquake proof structures or bunkers. We build bunkers now. We build nuclear bunkers designed to withstand nuclear blasts. Yeah, we're going to talk about, oh, we can't reproduce this, rocks stacked on top of rocks, so advanced, beyond our capabilities. We literally have nukes and we literally have bunkers designed to survive them. Like, what do you mean we can't do nothing? You can't, we can. As a society, as a race, we definitely can. If our ancestors can do it, we definitely can do it. It's just we don't need to do it. It's not necessary. Again, we can do better, so there's no need to reproduce something that we can actually do better. For fun, we can reproduce it, but there's no need for us to reproduce it at all. We have better methods. We can ease. That's what cement's for. Cement and rebar and support beams. We built skyscrapers, way more advanced than these stones stacked on top of each other on a mountain. Like way more advanced than that. I'm not against this. I'm not saying that this ain't, pretty cool, to see that people took the time to build something like this, a structure on a mountain with a whole bunch of rocks. It is impressive work, but it's not advanced, right? It's pretty basic in concept. Now, how they did it, like with the tools and how they transported the rocks and whatnot, especially the big ones, that's where it gets interesting. It's like, wonder what they had, right? But more likely what they had was, imagination and creativity, and they had the ability to build things that can make it easy for them to build things. One of the easiest things I always think about that they could have built, because I know I could build it, would be like big robots, like big stone, wood, right? Rope base. Basically is just like a humanoid, right? Crane, basically. That's essentially what we are. We're just small cranes. So if we can pick things up, all we need to do is create something big that can also pick things up, right? We understand the skeletal structure. We understand how our bodies operate. So it wouldn't be that hard to build something out of wood, out of stone, out of rope that can lift things up. So the idea that they probably had a whole bunch of cranes. Of course, they're going to have a whole bunch of people working together. So cranes, manpower, they had everything they're going to need in order to build this stuff, right? They probably had wheels, obviously wagons and stuff like that, things to help them move things around. So they obviously can pull and push these big giant rocks. Because the funny thing is, it's easy for us to pick up a smaller rock just with our own strength and our size. So just imagine if we made something bigger than a human, that functions like a human, like I said, a big robot, and then use it, control it, which wouldn't be hard to do, because you'd just be using a whole bunch of levers and pulleys, right, to move certain functions, like the arms and legs and stuff, and then move it around and lift things up. And the funny thing is, you don't need a full body, right? You just need basically just the upper body, right? You just need arms mounted on something shoulder-like, torso-like, I should say. Arms on a torso. Don't need a head or anything. Don't need legs. Just need some type of platform with wheels, ideally, and move around. A two-armed crane, as it were, is all you really would need in order to grab, lift, pivot, drop. That's all they had to do was create a 2-arm crane. They can grab things and pick it up and drop it. Pick it up, drop it. Pick it up, drop it. Or another way of looking at it, right, is basically chopsticks on a platform, like chopsticks on a skateboard, right? And then use the chopsticks to pinch the sides of the rock, right, to grab the sides, just like we will grab the sides. So we'll basically bear hug a big rock and then pick it up and carry it. That's essentially what you need. Big pincers, big chopsticks, whatever you want to call it. The idea is I can see them building something to make it easier to grab, pick up, right? Grab and lift big rocks and move it from one place to another, right? But modern day people with their opinions always want to be talking about, oh, things are hard to do for you, for your low IQ, but it's not hard for the rest of us. We're smart.